Hi everyone, my name is Joe Kanema from the Zamchat Medical Podcast, and I'm a pharmacist by profession. So today we'll be talking about an interesting topic that I feel that one or two people can be able to benefit from this. So we'll be talking about before you buy a retail pharmacy. Before you buy a retail pharmacy, what are some of the things that you have to look at before you buy a retail pharmacy? And currently in Zambia, especially in Lusaka, there's a lot of retail pharmacies that are opening up, and we will be able to do an episode as well on before you open a retail pharmacy. But currently, we're going to be looking at before you buy a retail pharmacy. So there's a lot of retail pharmacies that are opening up, and I don't know, many people feel like this is a very good business and perhaps you can make a lot of money, or there's a lot of revenue. So we'll be able to look at that. But now we're looking at before you buy, because also the other thing is that in as much as there are a lot of retail pharmacies that are opening up, there's also a lot of retail pharmacies that are closing, and many people are selling retail pharmacies. So I just want to caution one or two people out there before they buy a retail pharmacy. So number one, you need to look at three things. So number one, you need to understand what a retail pharmacy is all about, how this business runs. Now, if you already have a retail pharmacy and you are experienced in this area, well, you have an advantage. But you could be somebody that wants to buy a retail pharmacy and you don't really know so much about this industry. So the first thing that you need to do is first understand what a retail pharmacy is all about, what it takes to run a retail pharmacy, the supply chain, the business itself, where you need to get your commodities, the different pharmaceutical companies, the warehousing companies that supply, the different laws and everything that surrounds what a retail pharmacy is all about. And we'll be able to tackle a lot when we'll be looking at before you open a retail pharmacy. So number two, you need to look at the laws that govern the running of a retail pharmacy business. So I'll be able to look at what I call the big seven. Number one is the ZAMRA, which is the Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority. This is the institution that is given the power to register and to regulate retail pharmacies in the country, in Zambia. So you need to, before you buy this retail pharmacy, you need to do like an audit. You need to see documentation from ZAMRA, documentation such as the certificate of registration. Is the certificate of registration okay? Is it in order? You need to look at if this company has been submitting the annual returns, the ZAMRA annual returns, which are submitted every year. You need to look at other documentations such as the prescription books, the receipts, the invoices that this particular retail pharmacy, where they've been procuring their medications, especially when it comes to do with things such as controlled drugs. Controlled drugs, such as morphine, if they're dealing with morphine, medications such as codeine. Those are what we call controlled drugs. And you want to make sure that all the documentation is in place from which supplier have they been getting their commodities from. And it's very, very important. The issue to do with these controlled drugs is because you can get in trouble with DEC, which is a Drug Enforcement Commission. So you need to have all the paperwork in place. Or who are the suppliers? Where are the invoices? Where are the delivery notes? Record keeping books such as prescription books, such as expired products, and so many things in between. You need to just make sure that all the documentation is in place. And number two, you also need to look at ZRA, the Zambia Revenue Authority. You need to look at is this retail pharmacy, is it registered with ZRA for tax purposes? Do they have a tax clearance certificate and a valid one? If now we're in 2025, so this particular business should have a tax clearance certificate, a 2025 tax clearance certificate. Does this company have a TPIN certificate? Does this company submit annual, is it annual returns, or is it tax returns on a monthly basis, or everything like that? You need to look at all those things. Are they tax compliant? Because you don't want to buy a retail pharmacy and 2 months down the line you are visited by ZRA and you realize that previously they were not submitting any tax returns, so you're going to run yourself in problems. How many employees were there? Were they submitting the pay as you earn and everything? So you need to know so that you are protected. Number three, it's NAPSA. So we're looking at pension issues with the employees that are there. Were they paying NAPSA? And NAPSA is very, very important for you to also check and see that they were submitting NAPSA returns, all the employees were catered for, things to do with the contracts, everything is in place, and the contracts are also valid and also up to date. So very, very important for you to look at that. Number four is NEMA. You also need to check if this particular retail pharmacy is NEMA compliant and they have been paying NEMA for their employees or how many employees they have. Very, very important that you check, because you don't want to get yourself in problems. Are they NEMA compliant? The other thing, number five, is that you need to look at PACRA. You need to understand this particular company or a business that you are buying. Is it a limited business? Is it a sole traded business? Do you need to change the secretary? Do you need to change directors? Do you need to change? What are some of the things that you need to do? You need to change the name. Do you need to close the name and then use your new name that you're using as a buyer? Very, very important that you look at PACRA. Have they been submitting the annual returns, the PACRA annual returns? You need to look at all those things and ensure that you do all the necessary things to change the directors, to change the documentations, so that everything is aligned. Another important thing also that you need to look at is the council. So you also need to look at the council, things to do with the employees that you have there. You need to look at the fire certificates. The fire certificates, are they current? You need to look at also of course, the fire certificate. There are about 3 documents that come from the council. I'll be able to remember that you have to ensure that everything is in place. Number 7, you need to look at the HPCZ, the employees that were employed there, the pharmacists, the pharmacy technologists, all those. Are the certificate of registrations or the full certificates or practicing licenses, are they in place and are they current? So it's very, very important for you to understand that everything is in place. The last thing that you also need to look at is the sales records. Very, very important. I had a friend of mine who bought a retail pharmacy recently, and he overlooked some of these things, and they got him into problems. So it's very, very important to understand. So sales, you need to look at least 6 months records of sales, not less than 6 months, at least even 1 year, 2 years, or for however long this retail pharmacy has been operating. You need to look at the sales records so that you understand the trends, so that you understand the footprint traffic in that particular retail pharmacy, how many people usually come into the retail pharmacy on a particular day. You need to look at the revenue. You need to look at how this particular pharmacy has been doing financially. It's very, very, very important. Sometimes people just want to dump this particular business and they want to do away with it. So look at the financial records. Very, very important. And because most retail pharmacies, the problem is that the financial records are not in place. There are some that keep proper financial records, but most of them are not keeping. So you need to ensure that everything is in place so that you avoid problems. So there you have it. This is what I wanted to share with you today. Before you buy a retail pharmacy, so you need to do these 3 main things so that you can avoid any problems or any issues in the future. Next time, we'll look at before you start a retail pharmacy. That will be very, very interesting. How much do you need to have? Where do you need to open your retail pharmacy? How much does it cost to open a retail pharmacy currently in Osaka, for instance? So we'll be looking at that. So watch out for that particular episode. Thank you very much.